Test, test. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. All right. Mic check. Mic check. Test, test. Ooh, that's the wrong mic. Wrong mic. Let's see here. What's going on here? Hi everyone. Trying to figure out which mic is supposed to be working here. Oh, that's the problem. Test, test. 1, 2. Mic check. There we go. Hey everyone, PincheAls here. Welcome to a live episode. Tonight's just a fun little Q&A. If you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer. Today was a very, very productive day actually here at PincheAls Garage. We finally got the Patreon Jetta VR6 wired up. So it's all wired. We figured out how to bypass a lot of stuff. So currently I'm designing a kit to do a full coolant ball delete for the 12 valve VR6 setup. So I'm, how can I say, experimenting with different style connectors, trying to get the engine bay a little bit cleaner by obviously deleting the coolant ball and relocating the power steering reservoir. So that being said, it's not an easy task, but it is a task here at PincheAls Garage that we want to do to make a fun kit that anybody can buy, start moving stuff and cleaning up your engine bay to get it really nice and pretty. So that's something again that I'm working on. Tomorrow is the day. Pretty much it's almost been a full year since we've been building the Jetta, and that car pretty much is done. Engine wise, transmission, wiring, and everything. It's been a slow road due to the fact that we are 100% reliant on Patreon members. So if you guys are not a Patreon member, become one soon, because once this engine is turned on, broken into, Luis, which is actually a current Patreon member, is going to take that engine. That is his motor. He paid for that entire build. But while we're breaking in the engine, we're wrapping the car. We're going to get the interior fully custom made. We're going to have a full roll cage put into it. We got wheels. We're going to get the wheels sent out to get powder coated. We're going to do fender flares. We're going to go really wide on the stance or the look of the car. However, we're not stretching tires. We are doing a proper tire fitment. We're going to be, I guess you want to call it a wider, again, not wide body, just a wider stance on the look. So we get improved handling and traction. Since this car is going to be designed, is actually going to be what we call purpose built. It is purposely going to be built for track, not for the quarter mile, not for, the eighth mile, any of that. It is purposely built for handling. So we're going to have it for autocross and for like big track racing. We're going to try to get it on the Willow Springs and Fontana Raceway. Those are the two tracks I want to get it on, and I want to race the crap out of it so you guys can see how that car actually performs on a road course versus just going on a straight line that a lot of you guys like doing. But I don't want to do that. I want this car to actually be a road course car, so it can handle like a dream, and anyone can actually take it on the course and drive it. That's the purpose of this build that we have right now for this car. So if you guys aren't Patreon members, definitely become one, because that gives you one entry to win this car. Keep that in mind, guys. For every Patreon member that is in there, you get one entry, and that's it. No more entries. So if we have 30 members, or right now we have 36 members currently, so you have a 1 in 36 chance to win this car, which is exciting to say, because that's a really good odds to winning a car fully built and for fun, for you guys to win it with the fully shaved engine bay. I haven't done the wire tuck yet, because we're going to do that after we swap out the engine one more time. So we want to have everything else pretty much prime and ready just to build an engine, pop it in, and then go. But right now I want Luis's motor out of my house, out of my life, because I want him to enjoy it. I don't want to use his engine anymore after we're done playing with it. So, as the pretty much the title states, late night Q&A. So hey, what's going on? Do you guys have any questions? I have some answers. Hopefully you guys can tune in and ask away. But if not, pretty much, if I don't get any questions or any responses, I'm going to call it a short night. I want to go to actually bed early tonight because I have to go wake up bright and early to get this car done tomorrow. What's going on, Luis? How you doing, buddy? So, yeah. I know. I'm excited, too, to see your engine run. It's going to be pretty much just a downpipe. So it's just going to be the exhaust manifold, the two pipes that go to it, and that's it. So it's going to be loud, but I'm excited. I'm actually going to be up around 6 in the morning tomorrow, maybe 7, because I got to head over to the junkyard. When you sent me those hoses for your VR, Luis, the heater hoses, they didn't have the couplers to mount to the radiator, so I have to go to the junkyard and get some. So that's what's holding me back. I actually would have had everything done today, but yeah, that's holding me back. So I have to go to the junkyard, get those, mount them on, get the radiator pretty much primed and ready. The next step after that is to get the oil pan bolted up in place. It's there. It's already mounted, but it's not bolted on. It just has 2 bolts or 3 bolts holding the pan. So I got to get all that taken care of. Again, the wiring's done. I just gotta kind of like jerry rig the wiring. I gotta make a new location for the ground wires. So I gotta find a good spot before I make my holes for grounding all the wires in the chassis, because I don't want to use the factory locations anymore. I'm gonna be making my own spots for grounding the main harness. So I got to do that. Once that's grounded, pretty much I'm gonna do friction tape the main harness, so it's just bundled together, so it's not just moving around everywhere. And that's it. That's all I'm doing with the harness. I'm not gonna actually get it ready for wire tucking. That's after the car is running. I want to make sure this engine runs and make sure it pretty much isn't anything wrong with it. So that is it. Oh, and I gotta pull the injectors back out. I forgot about that. Injectors have to come back out because I gotta bolt on the manifold to the car. I know, right, dude? Clean engine bays on VRs are much nicer than a 1.8T, because I love the look of the manifold on the engine bay. It's just so nice. I mean, I would definitely hunt around, buddy. Ask around. There might be someone out there that can help you out with that, you know? I would definitely do some research locally and see what you can do with a, get that hookup, you know? I definitely would do some research and see if you can find a good place that can take care of you for a good smog, you know? Not a busy night tonight. Everybody's not coming on tonight. I know it's later, for sure. It is 10 o'clock. I was supposed to start at 9, but the kids wanted to play, so I wanted to hang out with the kids and stuff, so kind of didn't end up working out. I had to do a lot of finishing up tonight. Hopefully you guys caught the live stream earlier today. It was a short one. It's about half an hour for wiring the engine bay. Thank goodness to Ray for letting me borrow his Jetta to wire everything up correctly. Because of him, he was able to pretty much make it a successful setup for the wiring a couple weeks ago. But yeah, man, it's been rough with work. We lost another employee at my job, so in my department, so it's making it harder for have time off to do this. I'm actually gonna have less days off, which really, really sucks because that means it's excuse me, it's gonna push days back on how to get more work done on the Jetta. Um, because I want to get the Jetta wrapped like legitimately next week, but I don't think that I'm gonna see that happening. Even though I finished the 1.8T, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That 1.8T is done. It's built. The guy Steven or Steve, I'm gonna go deliver it to his house, and I gotta install it in his car. I gotta pull out the other engine out of his car, install this engine in his car, and pretty much do the basic break-in process for him. Hopefully he'll get the rest of it all done. And he said he's gonna hook me up with that motor. I'm hoping that he's gonna give me that motor, so we can have a good replacement for my wife's car, because the motor that he dropped off is pretty much junk. It's just total junk. The bottom end is decent. I probably end up building the bottom end. Probably build that bottom end and sell it to make some decent money off of it. That would help for the next build. But I need a clean block for my wife's car, since I gave him my clean block for him. So hopefully he does that for me. You know, I'm not forcing him, but I'm hoping that he'll be nice enough to give me that engine. Do you guys have any questions tonight? If not, I want to call it an early night. That's pretty much what tonight's video is. Just see if you guys have any questions. Definitely want to help out with any questions tonight. If not, again, guys, it's no big deal. It's the least he can do. I agree. Hello from Finland. Greetings, Alex. Greetings. Damn, from way on the other side of the pond. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Again, I'm here to answer questions. That's all I'm doing tonight. If we don't get any questions, I'm going to call it a night. I'm not gonna sit here and look pretty if I don't have to. Maybe I'll get on Facebook too. You know. Let's see here. Let's get people on the Facebook. Again, guys, if you don't have any questions, this live Q&A doesn't really benefit anybody. So ask some questions. Don't be shy to ask questions, guys. There we go. Hi, everybody on Facebook. We're here live. We're doing a quick Q&A tonight. So if you guys have any questions tonight about Mark IV stuff, or 1.8Ts, VRs, please ask away. I'm here to answer your questions. Now, one thing that a lot of people ask me, do I really build engines for free? Yeah, I definitely do. I do. I get that question a lot. People don't believe me that I don't build engines for free. That when they think about, they join me and they're like, oh no, he's gonna rip you off. No, 100%. I build engines for free. The catch is that you provide parts, number one, just like Luis did, and that you have to pay the bill for the machine shop. That is it. That is the entirety of it. I don't do it for anything. I don't do it for gains. I don't do it for views. I don't do it for any of that. I literally do it because it's one of my favorite things to do is building engines. It's a fun process. It is very time consuming. It is difficult to a point, but it is a fun process. I love doing the streams on it. People love seeing me build engines and asking questions while I build. Um, that way, we all learn together. Number one, that's one of the greatest things about it, is that it's a learning situation. Hey, here we go. Now we got a question. Wow. Thank you, Alessandro. Let's see. Hey, Al, got a 1.8T, 90,000 miles on it. Been doing my own oil changes. What's going on, McDubbin? But have been noticing a little glitter. Ooh. Possibly a bad turbo or something worse internally. Oh, it's worse. Unfortunately, Alessandro, glitter means rod bearings or or crank bearings. That's pretty much where you get that glitter from, that really, really fine glitter. Yeah, man, more than likely you got some failures. Do I have any tips for diagnosing it? Yeah, tear it apart. That's honestly the best way, because you can't inspect the bearing without actually taking the cap off the rod or the actual crank. It's the only way you can inspect it is literally by taking it off. The good thing is that there's a good sign that you're catching it. Now, this can happen by two things: either oil pump failing. So you have an oil pump that's either not producing enough pressure and allowing oil to go in the areas where it needs to go, where metal on metal is starting to rub. Honestly, good thing that you caught it, and you caught it in time before you actually have a catastrophic failure where the rods actually start to seize and you start having flop and you have rod knock. So right now at the moment, it is the best time for you to start building or buying parts to rebuild your engine. One thing I would probably recommend is probably replace that oil pump as well. If it's failing due to a starving oil pump, or an oil pump where there's two gears inside an oil pump that mesh together, and they kind of go like this as the gears mesh, and that sucks. That pump that spins in a circle creates a suction and pushes it up into the engine. That combination of the gear going together back and forth, in a rotating motion, what happens is that those little gears start touching, and what happens is that space in between starts opening up and causes what they call you're losing pressure as it rotates, because that gap is opening and opening and opening, and it happens. It's normal wear and tear on an engine. You have 90,000 miles, so what could have happened is that either the wrong oil was being put in, or just premature failure of the oil pump. It's not uncommon. It does happen pretty often. It's a mechanical part. It is going to fail. Whether or not it was due to either neglect or just premature failure, that's almost impossible to know. If you're the original owner, number one, or you're just the second owner just took over, and then the previous owner just failed at actually taking care of that engine. What is the recommended oil for a 1.8T at 140,000 miles? The recommended oil is the original oil. You want to use 530. Castrol full synthetic 530 is the recommended oil. Doesn't matter on mileage. One thing that is what they call a myth to a lot of people is that, go thicker oil, going older and older and older. No. If you go thicker oil, you create more friction. Okay? Okay. Going thicker creates more friction. So what happens is that you're making more friction. You're causing the engine to work harder. So you're causing things to fail sooner. If your car originally was manufactured, like 1.8Ts are manufactured from the factory when they're assembled with Castrol 530 European formula, full synthetic. Johnny boy, it's an automatic. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that one, buddy. I have no idea about automatic transmissions. I refuse to learn and to repair and diagnose automatic transmissions. This was one of the technologies in automotive world that I just don't care for, and I don't want to learn them because it's a lot to learn. It's actually there's more to learn on an automatic transmission than there is on a manual or an engine. It's crazy the amount of engineering is involved in an automatic. I wish I can give you help on that, buddy. I wish I can. Yeah, Alex, I will build engines for anybody. Now, usually if you live very far, okay? So if you live very, very far and it costs you like say $1,000 to ship it to me, the smartest thing to do is for me to go get an engine from a junkyard for you and build that engine, and then I ship it to you. That way you save on the shipping cost to me. You just pay the I just pay the shipping, or you just pay the shipping cost to you. That way you save a lot of money. Hopefully that helps. Let's see, okay, so how do you feel about Eurodyne? Eurodyne is phenomenal. Eurodyne is a really, really good company to tune engines, or get your car tuned. So I definitely recommend them if you know how to, if you know, their tunes are really good. I'm just saying, they're just really good stuff. So, let's see over here. Robert Posson, full synthetic. That's right. 1.8Ts are built with full synthetic engine oil, so that's what we use in them. They actually do not prescribe conventional oil. European engines love full synthetic because it's really, really, really close proximity. I mean, you're working with thousandths of an inch on a lot of parts, and they're hydraulic. They love that slippery oil. Very, very good stuff when using European engines. What kind of oil do you use on big turbo setup? I use factory oil. I don't change my oil. I make 450 horsepower, and I still use 530 full synthetic oil. Now, a lot of other people like to use like Royal Purple or what's it called? Liquid Moly. That's good stuff too. You can use their oil. Just make sure you use European formula. That's it. You want to make sure it's designed for European cars. You don't want to just get random off the mill, just 5W30 or even if you can get 540. 5W40 is a little bit better for big turbo setups since they get a little bit hotter. The hotter the oil gets, the thinner it gets, so you have high chances of getting that oil really thin. 540 does work. AMS oil, exactly. 540 full synthetic is a little bit better, a little bit thicker for high horsepower applications. But again, it's you know, it's all to you guys. It's honestly down to personal preference. Honestly, it is. What's going on, Dale? Dale. Aloha, buddy. From the island, man. He's got that gorgeous freaking UTE Jetta. See, now more people are joining in. Hopefully you guys have more questions. That's what we're here for. I'm using Facebook and YouTube for all our questions, all right? Any other questions, guys? Come on. We got people. What's going on, Thafucha? What's going on, man? Thank you for tuning in. Now, AMS oil, again, is really good oil. It is a premium oil, though. So, hopefully you guys like that stuff. That's expensive stuff. Man, excuse me. Come on, guys. You guys have any more questions? You guys, okay. What sort of 1.8T builds do you do power-wise? Well, this is kind of the thing I tell people. If you want to stay affordable, stay under the 500 horsepower range, okay? Where am I from? California. California, man. The United States. How hard is it to swap to a manual? It's a little difficult. Getting the pedal assembly is what is the hardest part to doing a swap. The pedal assembly is literally the bane of most people. because that firewall and that space underneath and the harness, the wire harness, is a little difficult to get it to work, but it's not that hard. It's more time consuming, honestly. It's way more time consuming than it's worth. That's why I tell people just go buy. If you have a 1.8T already, a good one, go find a beat up manual or a blown manual like 1.8T Beetle and just swap it over. It's actually easier to do. I mean, this is what I tell people. If your tune doesn't work well, are you sure it's the tune? Okay? You own a 20-year-old car. All right, man? It's a 20-year-old car. Is everything perfect in that car so you can run a tune in it? All right? This is why I ask, because this is a question I get very, very often. All right, James? And 90% of the time, actually 95% of the time, most of your guys' cars aren't ready for a tune. Either the boost hoses or your vacuum lines are all jacked. Okay? It doesn't matter if your car is on maintenance. You got to think about it. You have 20-year-old parts in there. Double check everything. Okay, you have a new engine. Are all the boost hoses in legit working order? Do you have any boost leaks, vacuum leaks? Is most of the stuff deleted? I mean, I'm working off, very little information, James, that you're giving me. And that's why I'm giving you, I understand you went through everything literally. I understand that. But my question is, that one clamp, you can have that one clamp that's just not on tight enough, and that can ruin your entire setup. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but it can be a clamp, it can be a hose, it can be something simple as a spark plug not bolted all the way down. I mean, there's a lot of factors involved, a lot. And when I build engines and when I get cars tuned, I quintuple check everything. And if the car's not running right, if I get pretty much I wait until I get a code. Jordan, Jetta sedan rear bumpers fit on a wagon? No, they do not fit. They're different. Again, if that tune is what they call a base file to get the car running, then you have to do the adjustments afterwards. It all depends. I mean, there's a lot of things in there that require information for that. You can't just tune a car. I mean, I know you're trying to, I'm trying to work with you, but it's one of those things that I've built many Mark IVs, and a base file is to get the car running. It's not meant to get the car working correctly. It's to get the car running, and then you start looking for solutions on what's going on. Number one, a stage tune. What does the stage tune require for it to run correctly? Okay, are they specific brand injectors? Are they specific size injectors? What's going on, Christian? Do they require a very specific MAF sensor or MAF housing? Do they require a specific exhaust size or an intake? Do they require a very specific turbo or a other stuff? Keep in mind when a tuner gives you a set of numbers, okay, a set of applications or mods required, you're supposed to match that first. Whatever they tell you to buy, that is what you need for that tune to work correctly. Okay? This is a good example. I used to be tuned originally before I went to Boost Dynamic Tuning. What's going on, Byron? I used to be tuned by, Motoza Performance. He wanted Simmons 550 injectors for my F23 turbo. He wanted an Audi S3, or I know Audi S4 MAF sensor with a VR6 housing. He wanted a short ram intake, not a cold air intake. He wanted to make sure that I still had my front and rear O2 sensors installed, and a KO4 inlet pipe. I decided to go buy Bosch 550cc injectors and pretty much buy I went against what he told me to purchase for that car. And then he tuned it. I sent out my ECU and he got it tuned, and then I had the USB cable to flash it. And the car ran like total garbage. Okay? I had everything deleted in my bay, the way I told him I did. I did tell him I deleted everything. All I had was a couple vacuum lines and a full 3-inch exhaust and all the basic Mark IV mods. Okay, James, I'm just trying to give you an example. Eurodyne has been around a very, very long time, James. So you have to understand, they know their stuff. And you're going to go against a company that's been doing something as long as Mark IVs have been around. You got to be careful with that. Be careful with that comment, you know. I don't think they're wrong. I don't think you're wrong either. I think you just got to figure something out. There's something wrong about your setup, and you have to figure it out. So, for what's going on, hey, I just tell my tuner what I have, and he does my tunes. Currently, I have F21T. That's a good turbo. I like that setup. What tuning company do you personally recommend anyone who asks you? I'm already tuned, but just curious on your input. For Eric, I love Boost Dynamic Tuning. I've been working with them for years. He's tuned my Mark IV. The current car we actually have right now, the Jetta VR6, he's tuned it. He's tuning actually Ian's car right now for a big turbo setup. So I've worked with them for about 4 or 5 tunes already, and every person that has had their car tuned, and I personally inspected the car, made sure modify or upgraded or replace parts on the car. Personally, every car is run flawlessly off the bat. Now that being said, Trent, who tunes my cars, is very, very specific on what he wants. He's very specific on the brands that you put on the car. He's very specific on the spark plugs that you want and the gap that he wants. He's very specific, and because of that, the cars run correctly. As long as you provide your tuner the optimal and most accurate information, the car will run great. So James, there's nothing wrong with my setup. Like I said, I've gone through everything. The tune has been the only issue. I also have fixed their tune for stage 2 with the 4-bar regulator on the stock injectors. Okay. Again, James, I would personally double check with Eurodyne. Call them. Why not call them? Be more specific with them. 386cc injectors at 4-bar. Find out if that's exactly what they want. Number one, if you're a tuner or you know how to use tuning software, go by all means, do it yourself. I mean, if you can correct someone else's problem, do it yourself. I mean, why not? If you know how to fix someone else's tune, do it. And then, show them what was wrong with their tune. But if you don't have the evidence or the facts or any vital information, I mean, this is just a back and forth conversation that's never going to end. From my personal experience and for the over 50 something cars that I built, I again, that's one of those things that if they don't care about a 20-year-old car, then go somewhere else. You know, if you're not going to get this customer service that you want and the help and support that you want, go somewhere else. That's just personal, honest, you know. Um, Unfortunately, it's just what it is, you know. Eurodyne isn't the best. Where they all piggyback off of other each other's, in my opinion. I know, great tuner. Let me know in the UK. Again, yeah, I've never heard of Ignition ECU. Would you probably really like? I mean, I never heard of them. A lot of the people that I do is usually big turbo setups, and you know, I love Boost Dynamic Tuning because I get the customer support I want, and I don't have questions about it. You know. Let's see. You said 380 injection 4-bar. That seems small. Is he KO3 or yeah? He's KO4 001. Exactly. Customer support is 100% the reason why I stick with Boost Dynamic Tuning. A lot of people don't um, bag on him because they say my car runs like crap and blah, blah. Again, we're working with 20-year-old cars, and it's one of the things that well, Joshua, the fuel regulator doesn't matter. Okay, I run a 3-bar fuel regulator with 880cc injectors, and it's more than adequate to make 400 plus horsepower. The regulator is not what matters. It's injectors, and injectors are 100% controlled by the tuner. Don't start throwing just parts at it and assuming it's going to work. Your tuner is going to specify that information. Hey, what's going on, Miss Pinto, Casey? But again, it really is down to customer support, buddy. Hopefully that does help you out. Motoza tuning is phenomenal. He's really, really good with tuning. Exactly, Josh. You don't need a 4-bar. 3-bar is more than enough for pressure, but it's really, again, down to your tuner. My tuner checks on me all the time. You just have to know the right people and get the people. Yeah, exactly. Take your. They just want to take your money and just sell you a file. Exactly. You know, that's exactly right. A lot of tuners out there just want to take your money and here's a file. Call it a day. Mark IVs for your typical build is super common. A KO4 is probably the most common basic build on a VW, you know? I know. I want to learn how to tune, but I want to learn tune right. It's one of those things is like, you know, I want to learn how to tune it, and I want to have my own tuning software like done. I want to do pinche tunes like that. But I ain't going to be doing no two-step. I ain't going to be no crackle pop. I'm against that stuff 100%. But I do want to get stuff running right. I want to have my own tuning. I really do. But to get into tuning, I got to have a dyno. And that's money I hopefully down the road, you know? A tuning scooter. Cheers from New York, man. Thanks for taking your time. No, yeah, always, man. That's what we're here for, Byron. Ian's watching. He's watching on the Facebook, not even on YouTube's. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit more help, James. I know it's not the best answer or the answer that you want, but hopefully it helps out. What's going on, Jim? What's going on? You know, hopefully it gives you a little bit better perspective, or at least a little bit better idea on what you want to look towards to, you know? Again, unfortunately, to try out other tuners, it costs money, unfortunately, and it's not cheap. Yeah, Euro Customs is legit as well. Damn, D Stone is on here. What's up, fool? Kitchen Nightmares is taking up my computer right now. Dude, I freaking love Kitchen Nightmare and Hotel Hell. Dude, you gotta watch his Hotel Hell show. It's so good. Yeah, Joshua, I agree. But I want to do dyno tunes. I want to be able to tune cars with a dyno and then do road tunes afterwards. I want to do like one-on-one sessions when I tune. I don't want to just sell files. I want to get cars and come in, and I want to do their come in, load a base file, and then start tuning, doing road tunes. I want to do that for people. It's something I really want to get my life involved with. I believe that PincheAls Garage would be super successful with that if we went that route, especially tuning older cars. Be so much having more support for older cars would be great. I texted you about no power on the dash, no lights, nothing is not ground cable connecting. It could be a relay. For the no power everywhere, there's an ECU relay inside your engine bay. I would check that, buddy. That's one of the more common ones that goes out. Again, James, yeah, you could be right. You could be definitely right that their file is just not really good. But they've been around a very long time tuning Mark IVs, so it's hard. I'm hard pressed with that argument. But again, you could be 100% right. You could be, but it's one of those things. It's I don't know. I don't have the car in front of me. I can't give you an answer on that. I mean, it's very, very difficult for me to base my opinion off of that comment, But Euro Customs is also legit. Um, Thanks, Ryan Stacy. I like that. I've been looking at that actually. I also been using AEM. I've been doing some research with AEM to learn how to do their standalone tunes as well, or their standalone ECUs. I want to get into wiring my own ECUs with AEM's ECU or Mega Squirt. I want to have my own standalones for sale. I want to be able to make a full Mark IV standalone plug and play harness for stuff like that. What do I drive now? I drive a big turbo Mark IV. I drive also a 2000 TDI 1.9 diesel. I drive those daily. My wife got a Mark 7 Golf Sport wagon because her other car got totaled out. Is the top of the waterfall box? Can you tell me the number? Would it be? It's by itself. If you go in the engine bay, it's on the left. It's that box that sits next to the relay. I mean, next to the waterfall, it has a little box right there. It's right there, so hopefully that helps. Oh, my internet connection is getting poor, guys. Give me a second here. Something's going on. Oh, I can't change the latency. Hopefully it keeps on going, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it's number 100. I think that's the one for the ECU. Sometimes those get really loose and wiggly, and if they don't make a good connection, can cut the power on the dash and everything. Another thing that can cause that is the turn signals. The turn signal, it's the gray one. It's not the black one, but the gray one. Okay, D-Stone? Your turn signal on the passenger side, there's a fuse that controls all the lighting inside your car. It's a little tiny one. I think it's on the far right on your fuse block as well. That one goes out too. Byron, how many VWs do I own? All right, so let's go down the list that I actually own, and I have them here at my house. I have a 71 VW bus, a 1986 GTI, a 91 Corrado, a 2000 Jetta TDI, a 2000 Jetta VR6, a 2002 GTI Big Turbo, a 2015 brand new, we just got it, 2015 TDI Sport Wagon. So I have 7 cars currently. Now, 2 of them I'm giving away. We're building those to give away. So But you can jumpstart the car, D-Stone? Interesting. If you can jumpstart it, yeah, you probably have a blown fuse or a relay that's gone out. For Byron, I have a tick from the hazards. That's your hazard light is your relay. That's actually where your relay is for your turn signals and for your emergency light. Hopefully you know that. What's your favorite generation of VW? Mine is Mark IV, Mark 7. I mean, if that's a serious question, Byron, Eric, everybody knows my favorite generation is the Mark IV. You know, I'm a big Mark IV guy. Um, my next favorite car is a Mark II. Mark IIs are like my most favorite iconic look in a water cooled VW. Now, if we're talking about again about water cooled cars, then yes, Mark IV and Mark II are like my favorite cars. Uh, Now, if we're talking about air cooled, VW buses take the entire cake out of all my cars, period. And that's why we have a 71 VW. Did we plan on dyno tuning my Jetta? No, Ian. We're going to have Trent tune your car. Let's see here. Yeah, it's gonna have a ticking noise. It's actually normal to have a ticking noise. That's normal. Definitely, Alessandro. Have a good night, buddy. Peace out, and thank you for tuning in. By the way, jumped and then no lights. Sorry, I'm slow typing. Let's see. The hazard switch is a physical relay that clicks back and forth. It doesn't click, then that's a bad thing. Exactly, Ian. Thank you. It is a relay. It's meant to click. Pretty much straightforward. That's actually the loudest relay in your car. That's the one that makes that toot, 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 or when your hazards are going, you know. No, there's no way of getting that noise. That is literally part of that's the nature of that thing. Yeah, if it's making a sound when it's not when you're not using it, then yeah, there's something wrong with it. You might have a short somewhere where a wire is touching. It might be a positive somewhere touching, and it's giving it electricity to kick it on. Then yeah, you might have a short, Byron. You're gonna have to when you pull the relay out, and what you need to do is um, get a voltmeter and see how often does the wire tick on, and find out which wire is actually giving you a signal. Now that wire, you're gonna need to follow that and see where it goes to on your underneath your fuse panel and inspect it. That wire goes pretty much in your dash down over to your relay. I mean to your fuse block. So you need to follow that. It might have shorted out and grounded itself and causing the relay to kick on as it vibrates. So what it's doing, it's probably touching ground and kicking on that relay whenever it wants to. Have I ever thought about working on Audis or getting into Audis? That would be cool. Plus, going all-wheel drive for big turbos. I've considered Audis, but the issue with Audis, okay, is that I don't like them. I don't like the car. I think they're too comfortable to be in. I know that's kind of the weirdest thing to say, but they're big cars. I don't like big cars. I don't like the feel of how big they feel, like just boaty. I'm just not a fan of that. They don't do it for me. I mean, I have a wagon. Don't get me wrong. I own a wagon, but I own a wagon for different reasons, and I don't like driving it. But it's there, you know. What I mean by comfortable is it's just weird. I don't find them attractive in any way to drive. I don't like it. I know it's kind of the weird thing to say, but it's just I don't like them. I don't like how fancy they are. I don't like how I don't like Audis. I just don't like them. I used to have a Passat, B5 chassis Passat, which is pretty much an Audi, and it was a fun car to own. Pretty much it was like a B4, B5 Audi chassis, but I didn't like the way it drove. It drove again too floaty, even lowered. Mark 1 TT is not an Audi, by the way. It's actually a GTI. If it has Quattro, then it's an Audi. But it's an Audi. It's pretty much a GTI with all-wheel drive. So if you've ever been in a Quattro, a Mark 1 Quattro, it's actually it's literally a GTI. It's an entire GTI chassis actually with it's an R32. That's the easiest way to explain an Audi TT. It's an R32 that they literally just a kid molded it into an egg, and that's what they did. Because it's an exact copy of a GTI. The chassis, the control arm setup, everything underneath that is a GTI chassis. They didn't make it into an actual like Audi chassis where they had wishbone setup and all that style. Exactly. I mean, I love Cadillacs, but I wouldn't want one. I don't want one. I don't want to own one. I'm not a fan of them. I don't like the way like I said, I don't like the way they ride or drive. I like the feel of control. I like the feel of the road noise. I know I'm weird like that, but it's a GTI or a Golf or even a Jetta it's a driver's car. People who like to just drive and have fun on the road, even though it's not like a high performance car or a sports car. It's a driver's car. It's a car meant to just enjoy the road. You hear all the noise, you hear all the clickety clanks and the turns, and you feel all the feedback on the road. It's a little different, man. I know it's kind of weird to explain that or say that, but that is the feeling of driving a Volkswagen or even just a base model car, and then you go into an Audi. You know. Again, I've been in fully built Audis. Like I've been in a twin turbo, 500 horsepower, and a 2.7T, and it's super cool. But it's not. It's not. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sorry. It just doesn't do it for me. Thank you, Eric. You know, again, that's my personal opinion. Other people, by all means, they probably will buy an Audi and always own an Audi and never buy anything else. But I just not my cup of tea, man. Not my cup of tea. That's why I own old Volkswagens. That's why I own them, and they're a lot more reliable than an Audi. A lot more reliable. Too many electronics in an Audi and a lot more problems. Just did a swap with my friend Joe on a 2002 Golf with an AWP. Loving it. Rods kept. Stock pistons just cleaned it up a little bit. but car's running great. That's awesome, Byron. It's awesome. Oh, and by the way, for everybody watching, if you guys want to join me at the junkyard tomorrow in Oceanside, I am going to the junkyard bright and early in the morning just to go pull a couple parts, and I'm heading back home quick. So, you know. What, D-Stone? What Jetta do you got? I'll buy it off you if it's a good price. Ian, the Jetta is running tomorrow. That's why I got to go to the junkyard tomorrow. If you want to go with me, buddy, I'm trying to be there at 8 in the morning. If you guys want to meet up and hang out for a little bit, and just, I got to go early though. Oh, whew, excuse me. But yes, I literally need the car running tomorrow. I just want it on and running, and then I'm going to go. I'm actually saving up to buy VCDS. I'm going to get a legit Rostec cable and a legit copy of VCDS. I'm going to learn how to use VCDS for pretty much everything. And I'm going to teach you guys how to use it, by the way. We're going to learn how to use VCDS together. It's going to be a really fun experience, and learn how to manipulate all the things in the ECU. Probably learn how to use it to play with a Mark 7 with it as well. Yeah, dude, let's do it tomorrow. So yeah, I bit the bullet, and I'm saving up money. It's not cheap to get VCDS, like a full license copy. It's like a good $600. I currently have $100, so I'm working on it. You know? Yeah, VCDS is, again, it's like $600 for a whole setup. I think it's like $120 for the cable, and it's like little over $400 or $500 for the actual software. You can get VCDS Lite. VCDS Lite is really cool. It's something you can play around and experiment with. But if you want an unlocked cable, you have to pay for the full licensed cable. Unlocked cable lets you use it on multiple cars, not just the one. Because a lot of those lock cables, you can buy them for like $50, but it's married to one car. But if you buy their licensed one from Rostec, they can give you one that's, you know. Is it D-Stone? Is it what's it called? Manual transmission? That's exactly why I gotta do it, Christian. Because I pulled the ABS module out, and now I need to bleed it. I need to bleed the actual module, and the only way to do that is with VCDS. You can buy one of those $100, $200 little code readers. They actually have ABS activation on there. So I'm actually thinking about buying one from what's that place? From Harbor Freight to test it and see if that works. So I want to buy a Harbor Freight one first to mess around with it to see if I can get the ABS module to open up so I can do the actual bleeding. Bring your own stuff, Ian. Leech off of me, this guy. I'm bringing very minimal tools because I'm not doing a lot. I got very, very basic stuff I got to pull out of a junkyard. That's it. I'm not doing a lot of shopping at the junkyard. Yeah, but how much do you want? What's going on, LHYNXZ? Hi. Be right back, guys. Give me a moment. I don't want that. You can keep it, D-Stone. Today's brew is by Asahi. Extra dry. I love this brewskis. Good stuff. It's like this is like the Budweiser of Japan. But it's better than Budweiser. So, I recommend it. The auxiliary water pump is meant for idle, for when the car is off. So that only kicks on when the car is off. So the when you turn the car off, that runs. So you I mean, I would give it away. I wouldn't keep it, or I would part it out. Um, what engine does it have? Does it have a 1.8T? I mean, I would probably do if you sold it sold it to me. I would probably do this. I'd probably do a DIY for a manual swap in it, and then give the car away. I would have, like I said, I have no use for it. Um, that's whenever anybody offers me a car, I always ask, "What's the cheapest you would sell it to me?" Because I have no use for the car. I 100% don't need the car. What I need cars for is to give away. If you guys have cars you don't want and they're just barely hanging off a thread, I will take it, because then I can give it to somebody who is in need of a car. But we would have to build it together, do a basic build on them, a basic repair job. For that car, I would probably pull the transmission out, and then we can learn how to do a full swap on it. That would be a great car to learn how to do a swap. Even better, a 1.8T. So that's an easy swap for a 1.8. But again, it's for something that I wouldn't invest a lot of money into. I would invest pretty much just time, and maybe someone who wants it. If someone locally wants the car and they want to do the work on it, I would have them, like Mark, how we did Mark's Mark IV. I would have him come over and do the pull the engine. Then we'd go to the junkyard and buy a whole swap from a junkyard and do it all together with him. It would be something that we'd do a learning course. It wouldn't be something, again, that I would want to flip or do a full build on. It would be something I want someone to have fun and learn with it, and we can obviously learn on YouTube how to do a manual swap. Welcome, Sergio Ramos. Greetings. Tonight's Q&A is pretty good tonight. A lot of people involved. I'm excited because it's a lot of have a good night. Thank you, Kennedy and Fawn. And sell exactly a manual swap. A lot of people bug me with manual swaps. Again, I don't like doing them. They're super time consuming. They're not bolt on. It's a job. It's a big job. Um, I'd rather build a big turbo and do a full big turbo build before I would do a manual swap. You're awesome. You always answer comments. Yeah, it's what we do. That's the whole point of tonight's stream, is to answer comments. I'm off to bed. Well, early. Day tomorrow. Yep. See you tomorrow, buddy. Yep. I'll see you tomorrow too, Ian. I'm going to go to bed soon too. That's what I wanted to do, is a swap, but it was what I could get at the time, and the wife can't drive stick, so I bought it home, and its life began. Exactly. Yeah, swaps. I dread doing manual swaps. It's just so much. It's so much work. It's so much work. Christian, I actually already have a DIY to do that. It's actually already on my YouTube channel. It's an older one, but it's on there. I'm actually going to be making a new one for the VR. Yeah. What's wrong with your car? What a spick? I forgot what was wrong with it, man. Sorry. I think it was a vacuum leak, right? All right, Black Gaming. I have a 1.8T MK1 Audi TT. So you have a Mark IV GTI with Quattro. Modded. I get the issue where the traction control light comes on, usually when backing up or when really cold, rarely under a hard pull. Any ideas what it could be? Yes. Check your ABS sensors. A lot of times on ABS sensors, what happens? Excuse me. So the ABS sensor is a big old magnet that goes inside the hub, and that magnet, actually behind the hub, and that magnet over time fills up with metal shavings. You have four wheel ABS. Okay. Double check and clean them off. Clean all the metal off of it, because what happens is when they fill up with metal over time, that sensor isn't reading the ABS ring correctly. So what happens is that the ABS ring is off time. I guess you can want to call it like a timing. Have a good night, Jim. Is off timing, and what's happening is that it thinks that the wheels aren't spinning at the all together at the same time. What happens is that the ABS or the traction light will kick on. Your ABS module might freak out. Clean those. Clean all the shavings off of them. It uses, I believe, a 5mm Allen. Pull the bolt out, clean them out, clean those sensors off beautifully, and put them back on. If that still gives you the light, or the traction control light, or the ABS light, check for any frayed or torn wires on your ABS lines. If all else fails, it's your module, your ABS module, the big old module that sits on the bottom right-hand corner of your engine bay. More likely that has failed as well. That's actually very, very common that those modules fail. My Mark IV currently has it pretty much failed on there, so it's normal. Excuse me. I got to replace a bunch of stuff. Yep, mostly vacuum lines. Yes, it will cause an ABS light, but it's also part of traction control. ABS is your traction control as well. Remember that. So those two systems work together. Lynx, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't even care for their cars in general. Anything Mark IV, Mark V and newer, I just don't care for. They're not fun cars anymore. They're boring cars. They make a lot of power. They're phenomenal. Everything's great about the cars, engineering wise, but they don't have soul. They don't have character. They're boring. They're super boring cars. I don't care for them. I don't care what Volkswagen or Volkswagen's going to turn into. I don't care. You know? They're going electric, so I don't care for the company anymore. You know? I don't care. Unfortunately, that's what the world is going into. Believe it or not, electric cars are way, way worse for the environment than a gas guzzler or even diesel. But that is the propaganda that everybody's spreading, that, electric is going green. Yay, we're going green because we're using lithium and we're mining the living crap out of our planet to strip mine mountains for lithium. And lithium is only mined in certain parts of the world, believe it or not, as well. Only certain parts of the world actually you can mine for lithium. And lithium is extremely bad for the environment. Exactly. You got to use coal to charge a battery. Electricity, solar, sun. Yes, sun is definitely amazing, but to refine lithium, because you need lithium and lead, okay, to make a lithium battery. Once that battery dies, it goes to a landfill. Where that landfill, that battery literally has to be buried, okay? Because if not, it will explode and catch fire. So think about that. That battery is now underground with lead poisoning and lithium. Takes more than 100 years for that thing to decompose and be safe for the environment. Do you know if the whole world went 100% battery or green, how big the landfills are going to be for just batteries? Could you imagine every single car, like every 10, 15-year-old car going to a landfill and then dumping a battery in it? That one day we have a crazy earthquake, and then we're going to have a fire so big that's going to last so long because we decided to go, and then refining lithium requires gas and crude oil to refine those refine those materials. You literally just added two really bad ways of toxic environment use, but because it's electric, it's green. Well, it's stupid. It's so stupid. What we need to do, what would fix the world, okay? And this is honestly the cold hard truth. Make a diesel hybrid. That's it. Think about that, guys. A diesel hybrid. They made one. Volkswagen made one, and then they can't make it anymore. It got an obscured amount of mileage per liter. Not per gallon. Per liter. Okay? If you guys look up the XL1, I believe, or the XL8 from Volkswagen, that car got 279 miles on 1 gallon of fuel because it was a diesel hybrid. Okay? Exactly. Because of money. If we invested in diesel hybrid technology, we would honestly end the crisis for fuel, period. Because number one, gasoline is the end product of crude oil. Diesel is the byproduct of making gasoline, which is the trash. Diesel is the trash that is made for making gasoline. And yet diesel costs as much as gasoline. Think about that as well, guys. Exactly. That's what it's all about. It's all about money. Economies would be destroyed if we made a phenomenal diesel hybrid car. But it's not going to happen. Why? Because green. Electric cars are green. Stupid. Makes me angry. Oh, Pasky, tomorrow we're going to get the VR6 running. Hopefully you watch it. I'm going to go live, but strictly for Patreon members. So you guys are going to have the utmost. You guys are going to have the front row seat to watch the VR6 turn on tomorrow. Hydrogen cars are super cool, but that kind of died. That went away because it makes sense. Why make something that has no byproduct, and hydrogen is something we can actually make out of nothing. We can make hydrogen so cheap. But number one, two big things why people didn't go hydrogen. Number one, hydrogen is super explosive. I don't recommend that. Gasoline is not explosive. It's flammable. Very different. But hydrogen is actually explosive. That's why we kind of went away from that. That's Imagine a car accident with 2 hydrogen bombs. Whoo, stupid. No, 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 no. But it's cool. The technology is there. We have the technology to use hydrogen, but it's not safe enough. It's nowhere near safe enough for Karens and the Chads to drive them. So yeah, no. Hiroshima Part 2, but we do it to ourselves. Mm-mm. Now, Christian has a good comment. A solar-powered hybrid car. Again, you're back at a battery-powered car, because solar energy, you can only put so many panels on a car. So let's assume you pretty much encase the top of a car. I did a lot of research on this actually. So if you covered an entire car with solar panels, you probably like one normal sized car. Um, Thank you, Pasky. If you cover, you make enough. You make about a quarter kilowatt, not very much. Even if you got the best solar panels in the world, you're probably gonna have a quarter to almost maybe a little bit more over a quarter kilowatt per hour. Not enough energy to move a vehicle that weighs probably a ton. You know. So it's not one of those things that would work. Early back, what's it called? Early '90s actually. They actually make a lot of solar competitions where they would put solar panels on a car, and the car would weigh absolutely nothing, like 500, 600 pounds, with bicycle tire wheels. I mean, they were designed for this for see how far you can go in range on a solar power car. You can go far, but you can't go fast. You can't go up hills. You can only go on flat land, and it's neat stuff. But the energy that we can receive from the sun isn't enough. You know, it's just not enough. Electric, like a solar power hybrid car, so you're going to use gas, batteries, and a sun. So now you just added 3 forms of pollution, all in one. Um, Remember that solar panels have to be glass. So now your entire roof is made of glass. Not safe. You can reinforce, obviously, lay it underneath that, reinforce it with metal. But just imagine if you rolled a car, someone's gonna die from shards of glass going into their head or their face. It's just not a logical thing to do. You got to remember, guys, when building a new car, safety is the first factor before the car is even built. Safety is always going to be the first thing, and they test cars at 35, 45, 55 miles an hour, and they have to be able to save people, make sure you don't die. And that's on a head-on collision. They also have to factor in, they have to have a roll test as well. All these factors are super, super important before the car is even built. So, like, my fear with electric cars, like Teslas, even though they're rated really high, I still haven't seen many Teslas crash like crazy head-on collisions or rolled. Because my biggest fear is, let's assume you rolled a Tesla and that battery cell decides to just crack open. Are you going to melt to death or burn to death? You know? I like that concept. I love. There's a couple. I forgot what state. In there's a city in somewhere in the U.S. that has roads paved with solar panels, and it charges stuff. That's a little bit better. Um, you know, what's up, Corum? I like that idea where we charge. I think if we invested more on solar power for living and not transportation, if we only invested money or gasoline or crude oil for transportation only, and then solar for the rest of the world, I think we can drop our carbon use by half. Honestly, if we can power as much stuff in the world with electricity, besides cars, cut cars out of the equation, and just power stuff with solar and use bigger banks of electricity to power things. That would probably be a better option. I agree. Nuclear is a phenomenal option, but the problem with nuclear, you have to account maintenance is extremely expensive on nuclear. That's why we turned off our nuclear power plant that we have here in California. So maintenance is number one, and the danger of nuclear is so high. You can ruin an entire state and ocean because you require the ocean to cool it. That's your best source of water to cool a nuclear power plant. So you require, number one, an ocean to cool your nuclear power plant. Number two, it's got a lifespan of over 1,000 years when you have to pull one of those plutonium rods out and bury it in the ocean. And on top of nuclear, if you have we're in California. Let's assume just California in general. Miley or Phoebe, both are good brands. Black Gaming, both options are really good choices. Let's assume we have a really shitty earthquake, right? Let's just assume we have a really, really bad earthquake, and then now that shit leaks into the ocean, or leaks into our area. Let's just look at Japan. Look at Japan and what happened to their part of the country. Their part of the country is non-inhabitable. No one can live there. The amount of radiation in that area is just not safe. Number two, most of their seafood now has to be imported to the country because most of the stuff is poisoned or has radiation in it or radiation poisoning. So think about that. And most of that corner of that country, I forgot what part of the country it's at, but you can't live there. You can't live there. Nothing is nothing. It's not safe. Period. They can't even stop it from leaking. They still have it leaking. Still, they can barely keep it from cooling down correctly. Nice, Corum. Exactly, Ryan. Yeah, that's another reason why I hate buying a Tesla or anything. But what a spick. One of the big reasons why they had a failure is because they had an earthquake. Japan is known for having lots of earthquakes. I agree, it wasn't efficient. I agree, San Onofre is, but you gotta keep in mind, it's one of those things. It's like nuclear is phenomenal technology. It's almost limitless electricity, but it's just super unsafe. I mean, a really good earthquake will ruin it. You know. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not even saying that you're right, but it's just we don't know. We will never know the state of the world at any time or place. And let's imagine if we went to war. Let's just think about that. What if we went to war and just someone just fucking blasted that thing? It's not like it's not gonna happen. We've been super close multiple times. We've been super, super close multiple times having multiple wars here. And I'm just talking about California. It's just California is not really the best place for nuclear power. Even if we did more inland, somewhere safer for nuclear power, and then ran power lines to power cities and whatnot, it'd be smart. But again, I don't know. Yes, I have seen those, and they work, and some of them don't work. They've actually have them failed too. Japan is probably the best country in the world for buildings for earthquakes, but the spring, so the buildings that they use for the springs, that obviously absorb the sway of the earthquake, um, they're meant to just decrease the amount of sway, but they do fail. Um, Again, you can't beat Mother Nature. We can do the best we can to keep up with it, but we can't beat it, and we can never how can we say factor in momentum and how long an earthquake's gonna take. And again, I've watched a lot of I love engineering, and Japan has one of the best earthquake like structures in the world. Because they literally have earthquakes all year in that country, and the amount of buildings that destroy, that fall apart, even though they use really good, phenomenal engineering for the earthquakes, they still fall down. But they fall down in a controlled way. They have better chances of getting out of that building than any other place in the world. It's insane. Again, it is again. Nuclear has less deaths. I agree with you, 100%. But from what I've read, a lot of that's why a lot of people went away from a nuclear. Is just because it's you got to factor in degrading, especially where you have the moving, like if you have to move rods over, or the cooling of the rods. There's a lot of factors that can fail. Again, it's already been proven that it can fail, and it has failed. Um, that's why it's just like, cannabis powered. I love that. Um, Again, yes, it is old technology. Yes, but it's not gonna. Unfortunately, it's not gonna happen. Whether we want it to happen or not, it's not gonna happen. I'm the same way. Whether we want to, you know, when I have money, man. When will I try to do a rear wheel drive? When I have money, I would love to do any of these option ideas you guys have when I have money. All right, got one more question, and I'm gonna call it a night because I gotta work tomorrow. I gotta be up super early tomorrow, guys. What's your other question? Power generation from the ocean waves. That I also seen that. It's super cool. Um, no, thank you, man. Again, this is what we do live. This is what it's all about live, is to help one another, ask questions, talk, have opinions, have fun accepting everybody's opinions and respecting everybody as one another. El Jetta MK4, ¿cuándo lo vas a sacar? Soon? Soon? Amando? Man, I would want that all day, Pasky. They have them in Mexico, so I've been really itching to go to Mexico and buying a whole swap in Mexico because they have VR5s in Mexico too. I know they sound like VR6s. It's nutty, and they make almost the same power of a VR6, but it's weird. It's weird. It's a weird engine, and I love them. I love them, but they're so hard to find. They were in a very common engine, but it's such a cool motor. My only issue with the VR5 is finding parts for one. It's probably super hard to find parts here in the U.S. for that. All right, so no, it's not a 2.5 liter. It's a 2 point something. I forgot the size. It wouldn't cost me anything to bring it. It's just trying to find one. You can bring engines from Mexico. It's not that big of a deal. You just can't bring a car. It is it's still a 5-cylinder, but it's not a 5. It's a V5, Hector. It's super weird. It's like if you ever look at a VR6, it's literally missing one cylinder. It looks exactly like a VR6, just missing one entire cylinder. It's super weird. 2.3 liters. There you go. I'm really thinking about it. I've thought about it multiple times to pick up a VR5. To have one here in the U.S. on a Mark IV would be amazing. People would be blowing their minds seeing a VR5. It's not common. It's not common. It's super rare here in the U.S. And it's actually not even legal. So that makes it even better. Hyper mile MK4 build, right? All right, I'm gonna call it a night. I gotta go to bed. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for enjoying the live discussion, being a part of this community, giving your input, because it matters. Your guys' comments 100% matter to me. That's why I answer all of them. Even on YouTube, I answer all the questions live as often as I can. So have a wonderful night. Be safe out there. And as always here at PincheAls Garage, if you see another Dubber on the road, give him a thumbs up. Give him a deuces. Respect. Why isn't it? Isn't because it's not an engine that we offer here in the U.S. That's why it's not illegal. You can't just bring engines from other countries that have never been produced or put in a car here in the States. It's super illegal. Especially in states that have CARB. It's not legal at all. So be safe. And as always, we're going to break, we're going to fix, and we're going to repeat. So peace out, everyone, and have a wonderful night. I'm going to be working all day tomorrow to get that VR6 running. So I'm going to be so excited when it starts running. If you guys aren't Patreon members, go to patreon.com, become a member, because that's the only way you guys are going to see this car run. I am not going to show this on YouTube. It's going to be a private live session for all the Patreon members. So be excited. Be excited. Be excited. So, besides that, have a wonderful night. Peace out.